Hi guys, my name is Chukwulobe Judith and I'm going to be your host on this TV channel. Well, in this channel, we are going to be discussing everything about paint and painting business, from the production aspect, the formulations, the color formulations, and even the marketing aspect. So please, if you are interested in this topic, please try to subscribe. So guys, we begin with the introductory part, which is what is paint. Paint is the summation of binders, pigments, solvents, and additives. These are the four constituency that make up paint. Without wasting much of our time, let's dive into binders. What are binders? Binders are chemicals or substances added into paint formulation to bind all other components involved in paint production to the surface. That means binders are catalysts that hold paint onto the surface. And by surface, we mean wherever the paint is going to be applied on, or wherever the paints are going to be applied. For example, we have the wool, the walls, the ceiling, the zinc. Binders are also called resin. We have the natural resin and the synthetic resin. Or you can say we have the natural binders and the synthetic binders. So, examples of natural binders or natural resin are palm kernel oil, fish oil, soybeans oil, castor oil, etc. We also have examples of synthetic resin, which are polyvinyl acetate, epoxy, acid resin, acrylic resin, PVC resin, etc. So guys, let's move to our next component. The next component on our list is solvent. So what is solvent? Solvents are chemicals or substances added into our paint formulation to mix all the components involved in paint production together, which means solvents are chemicals used in mixing all other components involved in paint production together. Solvents are also used to adjust viscosity, dissolve resin. It can also be used to dissolve solid components, suspend solid components. It also helps in drying. Examples of solvents are kerosene, white spirit, methanol, ethanol, petrol. So let's dive into pigments. What are pigments? Pigments are substances that gives desired color to paint, or they are substances that are being added into paint production to make it have specific colors. It also provides body and coverage to the paint in question. It can also be used solemnly or in combination with other pigments. Pigments are in powder form, but it can also undergo some process that makes it turn to paste. We have the water-based paste and the oil-based paint. The water-based paints are popularly known as the emulsion kind of paste, which is it is only used in paint production that involves water, or paint production whereby the solvent is water. We also have the oil-based pigments, which are used in oil-based paint, or which are used in production of any kind of paint that the solvent is not water. Pigments are grouped into two. We have the organic pigments and the inorganic pigments. We have the organic pigments and the inorganic pigments. Examples of organic pigments are halogen blue, ruby red, halogen green, and much more. Then examples of inorganic pigments are carbon black, titanium dioxide, zinc oxide, etc. With that being said, let's dive into additives. What are additives? Additives are chemicals or substances added into paint production to enhance, induce, and modify an already existing paint, which means additives are chemicals or substances added into an already existing paint formulation to modify its character. Then, an example of additives: someone thought it through and added marble dust into an already existing emulsion paint and it became textured paint. Another person thought it through and added carbon PT into a paint formulation, into emulsion paint formulation, and it started moving freely during painting exercise. Another person thought it through and added emulsion paint and gloss paint together and it became satin paint. You too can think of something else to add into your paint formulation to make it a new generation kind of paint. So now, let's get into the types of paint. We have main types of paint. We have the oil-based paint and the water-based paint. The water-based paint is a kind of paint that the solvent involved in the paint production is water. They are popularly called the emulsion kind of paints because they are durable, protective, and they absorb heat due to their abrasive nature. This kind of paints include the ceiling paints, wall paints, textured paint, flexured paint, and satin. Then the oil-based paints. These are paints that are mixed or tinged with organics related substances such as white spirit, petrol, diesel, kerosene, and much more. Examples of oil-based paints are auto paints, wood paints, stove paints, marine paint, etc. Then let's get to the importance of paints. It is used for beautifications and decorative measures to its surface that which means wherever it is being applied. It can also be used to cover or fill up unwanted space. It can also be used to protect surface where weather can affect. It also serves as anti-rust to some metal objects or to some metal space. It can also be used to prolong the lifespan of a surface. With that being said, thank you guys for sticking around with us to the end of today's video. Please like this video, share and comment. And please don't forget to turn on your notification bell so that you will be notified when I post my next video. Thank you so much and see you around later.